I don't know, you guys. I do know, but especially by the end of the episode where he was kind of like looking off, you know, without Johnny seeing his actual expression, and the expression was not very, you know, trust and stealing, you know? Like he was totally not repentant when he came back, you know? He was just like, yeah, you know, Cobra Kai's back. Now I'm gonna be, you know, you need me, blah blah blah. And they totally got into a fight. And I mean, Johnny nearly choked him to death. Nearly did to him the same thing that he did to him back when. But that didn't change anything. Like, he was still the same douchebag. It was, you know, like, I think he was happy to see that Johnny was like, you know, that he had like the savage streak inside him or something like that. Or I don't know. And he wanted to kind of inflame it in some way. And then he realized though that he couldn't, like, I guess by the, you know, the talk in the diner, he realized that he couldn't just, like, I mean, that Johnny was actually not interested and wanted to do things on his own and stuff. I think, like, he kind of, like, took hold of the fact that, you know, he said that he ruined his life and stuff like that. And he was like, oh, you've been so dramatic, like, blah, blah. But he realized that he could make use of it, you know, that if he actually did, like, the unexpected and came to apologize and, like, actually, like, admitted to the things that he did or something and said he was sorry, then it would, you know, bring Johnny over to his side. And I mean, just by the fact that Johnny was like admitted that, you know, he had so much influence on him, he realized that he could use that influence, you know, that, like, Johnny was saying, like, I don't need you anymore, but, you know, he could tell that he still had a lot of, you know, effect on him. So he was like, okay, I'll turn it around, make him feel like he wants me around, and then I'll, you know, like you realize that this influence is something that Johnny can't let go of exactly, like, all the way. And if he, you know, uses it in the right way, you can get close to him again. I mean, honestly, when he started, like when he said he's sorry and stuff like that, I was like, okay. I mean, the I'm sorry was, you know, very surprising, but also I was like, okay. Like, I was willing to give him the chance, you know, but then when he was like his it's not just that his manner changed completely, it was that his words, like, didn't really align, you know. He was like, oh yeah, I realized what I did to you, blah blah, blah, and I came back here to, you know, to redeem myself or something. And I was like, that was not your intention when you walked in. I'm sorry, that was like, that's completely bullshit. But I felt like I was worried, I guess, that the show was going to make me feel like, oh yeah, he actually really means it, and he's actually, like, you know, gonna be in Johnny's side now. And but I don't, but especially by that last look in the episode, I don't believe that. And I feel like he's definitely like the things that he's going to corrupt Johnny again with his, you know, ways of doing things. But I guess he's gonna find a way to make it seem like he's, you know, like he's doing the opposite, or he's helping Johnny and stuff. And that's, or it will come as a surprise when, you know, when he shows his true colors again or something. Because Johnny, like, I guess is too eager to kind of, maybe not eager, but, like, you know, he was really touched by the idea that, you know, that this sensei that he really looked up to is actually apologizing to him and sees the error of his ways and wants to change and stuff. Like, Johnny wants to believe in a second chance because that's what he's trying to do with himself right now. So, and I mean, you know, and he wanted a father figure that would be good to him. So, you know, hey, like this John dude doing this pushed all the right buttons for Johnny to be like, okay, I should give him a chance and stuff. We can make this work. I mean, he was my sensei. He taught me everything, you know. Even if, like, he taught me terrible stuff too, I know now, like, he wants to redeem himself. So together we're both going to, you know, do right by our students and stuff. I don't know. Like this John Kreese dude is really manipulative and gaslighty, and he's waiting like the stake, like the cobra under the ground or whatever, to strike. I'm sure it was it was an interesting approach to, like, I mean, it was a really fitting approach for Johnny to, when he talked to his students about, like, when he wanted to make it clear to them that what they did was wrong. Like, he wasn't talking about how, oh, it's like he wasn't trying to apply to their, like, maybe emotional side or empathetic side or something. It's not his thing anyway, but like he made them feel like, you know, by his comparison with, like, you know, the two cobras and the lion and the crippled monkey and stuff, and like he made them feel like, oh yeah, we have to do this, like he made it like so seamless, I guess, in the way that it like fits with their mantra or whatever, like their motto, like, because it's basically the exact same motto that he was taught by John Kreese, right? But there, like, they really were, like, there were no rules, there was nothing held you back from doing whatever you wanted just to get that prize, to get that, you know, like, it didn't matter. Like, the only proof of your worth was the fact that you won, no matter how. And now to Johnny, it does matter how, but he made them feel like, you know, like, of course, like, if you want to be a Cobra Kai, you have to be, like, honorable in that way, like, not use the weakness of your opponent, like, in such a dirty way, like. And he made them, like, he made it fit with their, I guess, philosophy or something. So, like, yeah, it was a good speech. I guess what I'm trying to say is that he wasn't retracting. Like, he wasn't like, oh, wait, you know what, everything I taught you, I was wrong. Like, you know, he was still like, yeah, this is Cobra Kai, and we still, you know, fight with no mercy. But he still stands by those words. He still stands by the, you know, by the way he does things. Like, it didn't change him as a sensei. I mean, he did. Obviously, it affected things. It made him see what he was doing, realize, you know, how much effect he had on these people that were looking up to him. But like, he still kind of, it still feels like he's himself, and his way of doing things. Like, he's not going back on this way of doing things and saying, like, oh, you know, forget everything I ever told you or something like that. Like, he just made it, you know, found a way to make it very clear that, yes, we're cobras, and we're, you know, and like, there's no mercy, and we're strong, and we strike first, and we strike hard, but still we do it with honor, and, you know, it makes us even better, you know. So that was, like, a really, like, it was a convincing speech. It was well done, really. So, like, I mean, it's good. It's, like, satisfying to see Johnny, like, you know, realize this difference. Like, you know, I mean, it hit him hard seeing his son on the other side, obviously. Thankfully, it wasn't, like, I mean, if it was someone else, if it wasn't his son, maybe he wouldn't have realized this lesson that hard, or would have just kind of went with it or something, you know? But seeing his son on the other side, realizing what this meant, like, you know, how much responsibility he had for, you know, what his kids were going to do, really made him open his eyes. And even, you know, it's not like he became, you know, suddenly a believer in Miyagi's way of karate. Of course not. There's still, like, a very big gap between the two dojos, the two ways of doing things. But it gave it more legitimacy. Like, you know, Daniel is saying, like, oh yeah, we're not gonna destroy them because they're not our enemies. We're just gonna show them there's a different way to do things. And it feels like he's saying there's a better way to do things. I think he pretty much said that, like, in some way. But he definitely feels like his way is the right one. And I mean, fair enough. But by the way, you know, Johnny's doing things, and by, you know, like, starting to, like, by the way that he's starting to kind of mold his own kind of Cobra Kai, definitely gives it like like it's not that clear cut, obviously, who's the right one. I still think that Miyagi's way of doing things, like, I relate to that more. I hold that in higher regard, I guess. But I'm definitely like, I'm seeing the good also in Cobra Kai, I guess. Except for Hawk. Hawk just creeps me the fuck out. I just can't with the instantaneous transformation and the way that he's so like over the top with his aggressiveness now. I mean, it's not all the time. He still has those like glimmers of, the kind of boy that he used to be or something, but it's just, yeah. Anyway, there's still definitely rivals. I still believe that their way is the right one. But at least, yeah, Daniel, with the help of Sam, realized that it's not about winning. It's about embracing, your way of doing things, and I guess showing it off. Showing it as an alternative. We'll see how it goes for him when he starts, I guess, like, advertising the dojo, whatever. I mean, he is famous and successful, so it makes sense that there would be a lot of people who, would be interested in some way, but we'll see how, like, there will definitely be a rivalry between the two dojos. That's inescapable, but we'll see. And of course, now that John Kreese is involved, sure. Yeah, we'll see how things go next episode with the two dojos. Okay, I hope you guys enjoy this reaction. I will see you in the next one. Bye. Special thanks to my top Patreons: Breading Tier, Andy Plays All Night, Terranor, Michael Gabriel, Shadows Moon, and Marsh. And to the rest of my amazing Patreons, who without their support I would never be able to keep on doing this. Thank you so much.